Hello again, it's Priscilla Batzell in Spring Hill, Florida at Expressionist Art Studio Gallery, and I'm going to do something not very interesting at all. I am going to take my Artist Loft and semi-gloss white from Walmart mixture, and I added to it some Hot Orchid from Color Art because I want a background color on my canvas that's pink. This is about 3.5 ounces of paint, and I'm going to use my spatula. And I don't know if I have enough paint, but I'm going to try and make it go. I'm not going to worry about my edges yet. I am going to make sure I don't have too many drips. Yes, it's very Pepto-Bismol-y pink, but it's also a beautiful sky color, and there will be other colors swiped over it, so it should be just fine. Now, because I have Floetrol in my mixture, it means that if I can get this covering the canvas fast enough and wet enough, that the marks will dissipate because of the Floetrol is a paint leveler. So I'm just long, steady, even pressure. And my idea is to get enough paint on covering the canvas to begin with so that I can go back and stroke through and make sure that my marks are as clean as I can get them. Because if I leave it like up here where the canvas is showing for too long, then I can't drag through anymore, because it's already started to dry. So it's got to be a fairly fast process, or just use a lot more paint and be willing to wait a lot longer for it to dry. My canvases, when I do them this way, when I'm successful, I can do 2 or 3 coats in a day. And if I could make it cover in one coat, which I probably cannot, I could be ready to paint the same day. I'm just trying to not see the grain of the canvas dominate through the paint layer. I am going to look for things that I might need to pull out with my pair of tweezers. When I get to this end where I started, a little bit more paint on my blade of my spatula will help fill in that canvasy texture. Now, I've got a pretty good coverage there, with the exception of a couple places. So it's about the pressure of the blade. You just want to glide. And after you're gone, I'm probably going to spend some time putting some paint onto the blade of my canvas and tapping it the length of the side of the canvas in a bunch of small puddles that don't really drip. At least not before I have a chance to go ahead and run my spatula along them. So that's really pretty good coverage. And rather than have all straight lines, which I could stop, I'm going to put a little bit of a curve in there, and I'm going to try and use an even lighter touch on my spatula. Don't be upset if at the stage your fingernail drags through, because if you can see, I'm almost as level as I can possibly be to the canvas. And I want something slightly more organic feeling for a background in case I have any lines show. And most of the time, whatever I put over the top of my paint sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say diffuses. There we go. That's a good word. So this is so little, and that I can't pull that out. That's a grain in the texture of the canvas, in case you can see that, which you probably can't. Now I could just keep doing that for another minute because it's not drying too quickly. And for me, the more times I do that, right up until I notice that my spatula is dragging, the more likely I am to have good coverage. But I should also generally expect to need another layer. So, other than the fact that I'm going to show you really quickly what I do by putting a little bit of paint on the blade. Hopefully you can see that. That was maybe a little even more than I need. But I used to be a house painter, interior trim house painter, so always move your paint upwards. That way when it starts to drip down, you have a more even layer And then I'm going to run my spatula through it. And sometimes, actually often, I'll run my finger underneath. I used about twice as much paint as I needed to, because that's what's left. I'm going to pull my canvas right over to the edge of that corner of that tile and just do it again till my blade is just about clean. And it doesn't have to cover the full strip the first time. You're just pulling it up. That way you can go back, and whatever layer is dripping down or sagging down just a tad is a good time to just keep running your spatula down. Push it up, and then you can go to the bottom edge and then do what I did again. Just run your finger right along the edge of the bottom. Make sure there's no drips. So now there's that much paint left from doing two sides. I see I've got a mark over here. I'm going to take a chance. Whoops. I've got a mark on my camera stand too. Alright, so I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to try and do it with the appropriate amount of paint this time, which is not much. I'm thinking I can get away with this a one coat deal. Maybe it's because of all the white that's in there. So that amount of paint. This is a 2-inch gallery wrap canvas. So even though you're basically just looking at pink. Yeah, the end of that thought went away. Never mind. I'm focused on what I'm doing. Check to see if there's any like divots in your canvas texture. Sometimes the wood frame underneath has indentations because they're still made in China. My canvases are Artist Loft. This is a like level 3. So hopefully, with any luck at all, most of the I have one drip on this side, and that's it. So I think less is more. But this is a long side. I'm going to start in the middle and try and disperse that paint along my blade again and pull it up to the edge. I don't want a vast quantity of paint on my blade when I pull it up to the edge, so I'm sort of pulling it up in a curving motion in a way. I know this is not the easiest thing in the world, and it definitely came with practice for me, but I figured knowing a few tips probably wouldn't hurt anybody's feelings, because I can't be the only one that likes to have an alternative background to white or whatever color you're playing with. It's just nice to know you can use a spatula. Well, I'm pretty much done. This is Priscilla Batzell in Spring Hill, Florida at Expressionist Art Studio Gallery, priming a canvas, and hopefully, if it dries nicely, I might get to do a scape on this. I will include this link underneath whatever painting I do. And I do have this amount of paint left, and I can, once I have this paint dry, I could probably make that ounce of paint go this entire 20 by 24 inch canvas because I'm using the spatula. Be careful not to go back like I just did, unless you're really brazen. I'm going to put a cap on that. I'm going to tell you guys thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate your help. Sharing my videos and watching the playlists on all playlists and creative playlists, and check for my link tree underneath the video. If you shop the Amazon link there, you help me out at no added cost to you, and I really appreciate all of the support I can get. If you want to be in the monthly drawing, there is always a drawing. The prizes are included on the exhibition video on the end screen of any video, and a PayPal or Patreon donation. I prefer PayPal. You can find the links on the bottom right hand corner of my YouTube channel banner. I wish I could show you that there are really no marks. I'm zooming way in and you can't see any marks. But that's the most inane thing I've probably ever done. I love you guys. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. There's going on 92,000 subscribers, and if you're new, please be welcomed. And if you're not, thank you for being here. And thank you. Thank you for all the donations that help keep me painting. I love you guys. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. I think I said that twice. Bye for now. Priscilla out.